Bava Kama Daf. We are up to today, Daf Kuf Hey, Daf Kuf Hey. So in the Mishnah we're talking about is you want to do tshuva, be contrite for the gneva that you did. You have to go all the way to Madai and bring it to him. But if you made a false vow and then you admitted yourself, not that you were caught by what you admitted yourself, then the penalty is you got not only reimburse the person the principal, you also have to add a fifth penalty, and you also have to bring a carbon. But we said that if you paid back the principal and you just didn't pay yet the penalty, then you don't have to travel to Muddik for that. Or even the principal, if he paid most of it, or if he was moichel most of it. If there was more than a Shavah Pruta left, you have to travel to Muddik to return it. If it was less than Shavah Pruta left, you don't have to. So we're up to the Gemara here, Daf Kufay. If he left about 7-8 lines from the top of the page, if he left behind less than a pruta of the principal, then you don't have to travel to Muddik. I'm going to papa loisha. No things that him as if the one you just have to pay with money because the initial item you stole is no longer in existence. But the initial item is existence. The trader says like that. You have to go back. Now why? It's less than a pruta because chayshinan shemati yakir. How do you know between that one day it will become worth a pruta? So therefore you should make a trip over there. We have something similar to Beis and Kedushin, that if a person gave a woman something less than a pruta, we say shemesh or pruta b'modai. Here we're saying not that maybe it's worth a pruta somewhere else. We're saying here that, and this we're talking about modai here, but we're saying maybe it will increase the value. Right? No, currently we know it's not worth a pruta modai, because if it would be worth a pruta modai, definitely, even though here where you are, it's worth less than a pruta, you would have to go return it. It's because right now it's not worth a pruta here or there. But Shema Tiyaka, that's version number one. Ikidam the Papa Loishon, Loishnog Zela Kiyemis, Loishnosh Angel, that makes no difference. Ain't it sort of like the Shema Tiyaka? If we know that it's not now worth a pruta anywhere, then there's no to worry. One day might be worth a pruta. Because you look at the here and now. Amar versus Rava. Now a number of questions. So we're saying you're less than a pruta, you don't have to make that trip. Omar Rava, so we're talking about returning a Gzela less than a pruta. Says Omar Rava, Gozal Sholosh Agudis, you stole 3 bundles of some kind of a flower, whatever it is, or myrtle, whatever it was, Bisholosh Prutas. It was valued 3 prutas. Each Agudis is worth a pruta. So when you stole it, there was a Chiv Hashava on each bundle. But then Vahuzlu, and it devalued and it depreciated in value. And now these 3 bundles are worth 2. I mean, if you take each bundle separately, each one's worth less than a pruta. But when you stole it, there was already a chiv on each bundle because each one was worth a pruta. You return 2. What do you have left now? 1 bundle, which today is worth less than a pruta. Nevertheless, you have to go back ahead. You have to return it. Why do you have to go back to it, but you return up there? It's less than a pruta. Because at the time you stole it, it was worth a pruta, so it was a chiv of hashava on this very item, and therefore you have to go over to Moda and bring it back. But I'll prove it to you. It says, let's say you stole a bottle of whiskey before Pesach was it was valuable, but overall Pesach, and now after Pesach it is valueless. He can tell the guy, he said, here, take it back. I'm returning the Gzela. Time the Isabina, because here, I have to get back to him. But if it's no longer here, even though right now why should I pay anything else? I can give you back this bottle of whiskey, which is worthless. So therefore, and now I don't no longer have the bottle of whiskey, so I don't really owe anything. But since when you stole it, it was worth $100. So even though now this very bottle of whiskey which I could give back to you has no value, yet if it's not in existence, I got to return to you $100. But even though right now this bundle is worth less than a pruta, but since at the time you stole it, it was worth a pruta, you need to reimburse him. You have to pay. Rava has a few questions. So what happens if Gozal Shtei Agudas b'pruta? You stole 2 bundles of pruta, so even at the time when you stole it, each bundle on its own is worth less than a pruta. So there was never a chiv hashava on an individual aguda. The chiv of returning it to the victim is only both agudas together. So what happens? Gozal Shtei Agudas, you stole 2 bundles b'pruta. You stole it for pruta. Then you returned one of them. So you have what you have left now is a stolen bundle, but it's worth less than a pruta. It was always worth less than a pruta. But you had a chiv hashav on it, not on its own in isolation, but as part of the package that you stole. Question is now that you only have this, what do you have to do? Mao. Me, I mean, do we say hashta leka gzela? Now you don't have a gzela worth a pruta. Or do we say the fact is that there's a chiv hashava on this, and even though right now it's worth less than a pruta, it was always worth less than a pruta. But before it was part of a package. Now this is all you have left. Once it's a chiv, you have to return it. How do we view this? Hoda poshte, he then resolved it. Zayla enkan hashava enkan. You don't have a stolen item, but you didn't return it. What does that mean? If you no longer have a stolen item in your possession, then hashava yeshkan. That means if you don't have it, that means you gave it back. I mean, your yaitza, the returning of the stolen item when you gave back that other agudan, that was good enough because what you have left now is less than a pruta. This is what I meant to say. Even though the pile, you don't have to return this because this was never worth a pruta. So on its own, you don't have to go and return it to the owner. But but you cannot say you gave back to the gzela because the fact is you didn't give it all back. So we cannot be mechayiv you to return that because it's less than a pruta. It was always less than a pruta. So there was never a chiv hashav on this in isolation. But you cannot say you gave back the entire gzela. You did your tshuva. Because the fact is, you still have some. You're still retaining one of the agudas, which was a stolen item. So the only way to do hamram tshuva is to go back. We cannot paskin that you should return it exactly, but nevertheless, you didn't return your gzela. Studying one further, a similar case, Hadi Amru, we say Nazir. We actually had this. We had this at Nazir. The din is that when you cut your hairs, you should not leave two hairs. If you left one hair is one thing, but if he left two hairs, he didn't fulfill the mitzvah. Nazir has to shave the head at the end of the days. If he didn't, if he shaved his entire head but left two hairs behind, he has not fulfilled his mitzvah of a gilach to completely shave his head. So what happened like this? Nazir shigilach, a Nazir shigilach, he shaved his head, but b'shayish teisidus left behind two hairs. He has not fulfilled the mitzvah of taking a haircut. What happens then, boy Rava? Gilach achas v'nishrach. He cut one hair and the other hair fell out by itself. Mao. It's close enough. Is this cup of tea? That's true. Ma, what's it in? That a nozer who cuts one at a time come a boiler the other. What's exactly his question? Surely it's a haircut. He cut his hair, but you have to cut all your hair in one go. You cut your hair, individually, and then when it comes to the end, one of the hairs fell out. But and he cut the other. What's a shaila? Why should it be a shaila? Right? He cut one hair, and at that time there were two hairs left, and he cut it, and then the other hair fell out. So what's the problem? The question is as follows. The hair fell out before you cut the second one. Now, if you cut the penultimate hair, and there were two hairs there, so you were doing a mitzvah giluch, and the last hair fell out, what do you want to do? What's up shaila? But the shaila here is, he had two hairs left, he left two hairs behind, which means he has to still cut it. When he went to cut it, the first hair fell out. So he didn't actually cut the last two hairs. How do we view that? One of the hairs fell out. So now when he cut the second hair, there wasn't a shear. In order to be yaitz the mitzvah gilur, you have to cut two hairs. But there were two hairs he's ready to cut, but one of them just fell out. The gilach achas. Do we say, when is the first one? When you cut that hair, you did the mitzvah. And then the second hair fell out. So what's the problem?
So you started doing it.
That is the mitzvah is when you have two hairs cut. The mitzvah is when you have two hairs to cut. Is to have two hairs to cut. And so he had a chiv to cut. And if you only have one hair left, you fulfilled your mitzvah anyway. So, but if you have two hairs to cut, and before you cut it, you shaved your whole head, you left two hairs behind, so you haven't fulfilled your mitzvah of Geluach. Before you cut it, the hair fell out. You cannot fulfill the mitzvah of Geluach because you left two hairs behind, you didn't do your mitzvah when you cut the rest of the head. And now when you're about to cut this, there's no shear. That's a shayla. How do we do that? That's a shayla. Yeah. One hair fell out, and the gilach achar, he cut the other one. Me and you, we say hash to me is a lekashir. Do we say he has not fulfilled his mitzvah because right now when he went to cut the one hair, there was only one hair left standing. That, or we say no, that it's not considered cutting because he left behind two hairs. The shaila is that the pile, there's no hair left in the head, so he's good. He fulfilled his mitzvah. He went to cut it. It's not his fault the one hair fell out. Or do we say lepoil? When he went to cut, there was no two hairs to cut. There's only one hair left, and therefore he has not fulfilled his mitzvah of Geluach. But when he cut the rest of the head, there were two hairs left. How the poshta? So then he resolved in the same lashon. Saren kan, there's no hair left, and geluche kan, you haven't done your mitzvah. If you tell me there's no hair, it's considered as if there's no hair left. Geluche kan, so that means he did shave his head, so he did fulfill the mitzvah. Even though there's no hair left, he has not fulfilled the mitzvah because when he came to shave those 2 hairs, there's only 1 hair left to shave. We learned that if you have a corpse or part of a corpse in the house, everything inside that room becomes tamei. It generates tumah throughout the room. If there's a skylight and there's an upstairs, then the tumah, it goes upwards. If you block the skylight, if you put a keli there, a barrel there, it blocks the tumah. It doesn't escape. If you have a puncture in this keli, so the keli itself can become tamei, then it no longer obstructs the tumah, the piece of tumah from going upstairs. What happens? The hole is too small to be considered a keli to allow the tumah to come in. Then it serves as a barrier and it prevents the tumah from going upstairs. So the shayla as follows: let's say there was a puncture in that chavis in the barrel, so tumah can go in, and then the tumah will go upstairs as well and spread around. But the statuma, you sealed it with shemarim. The barrel had inside the sediment, of wine or grapes, and it fell into that hole and it blocked up the hole. So now the tumah cannot go through. It saves the upstairs, doesn't become tamei. He's boy Rava. Interesting, you're right. All these questions are from Rava. Boy Rava. Agav, we had some of the similar kind of questions. Agav chetshima. What happens? You only sealed half the puncture. So now there's still a gap there. It started out enough to makabel tumah. Now you sealed only half. It's too small to makabel tumah, but you haven't completely closed it up. Now, how do we view that? Lav Mishnah saying who's confession Mishnah. Now the Mishnah Chavish and Niklev, there's a barrel that was punctured. This Tamur Shmadim was sealed up with these sediments. What happened? You blocked it up with branches. Branches full of gaps, so you have to put cement on where the gaps are. There were 2 branches, so not only do you have the gap between the branch and the end of the hole, but you also have now a gap between the 2 branches. So you have to fill the gaps everywhere. Time, it's clear from there. The only reason why it prevents the tumah from going in further is the marach. All the gaps you filled in. If you wouldn't have filled in the gaps with cement, then you wouldn't hold it back. Even though right now the gaps are less than the shear, but since it started out being a shear, it's not considered that you eliminate the shear until you've completely covered over. What are you comparing? They're the problem. You know why you need to cement it? Not because you have to fill all the gaps, maybe. You know why? Because what's holding those things firmly in place? Because there's still gaps, it can fall just as easily out. So it's not considered. It's such a temporary gap. It's not fill. It's not considered a fill. But if you, in other words, if over there the problem is it's not really a fill because it can easily fall out. But over here, if you covered half the gap and it's stronger in there, maybe it's good enough. We haven't resolved it. We said, somebody steals chametz while Pesach. You stole a bottle of whiskey after Pesach. He said, look, here, take it back, even though it's worthless, but this is what I stole. Boy, you know what I said? Question. Remember we learned before that when you swear and it's false, I don't have it, and then you're made that you're a liar, you have to pay the principal, pay a fifth. But we said if you swore about something less than a pruta, no, but it's not really money, then even if you admit that you swore false, there's no penalty, there's no carbon, nothing else. So what about if you swear about this bottle of whiskey after Pesach? Don't have anything, never stole anything. And then you're murdered. So at the time when you swore, this thing had no value. The bottle of whiskey had no value. It was after Pesach. But on the other hand, if the bottle of whiskey wouldn't be here, you would have to pay the full price. So the bottle of whiskey is saving you from money. So it itself has no value, but indirectly it has value because like a dover going to moment. It's dover if it's here. If you lose a bottle, I would have to pay the $100. So this bottle is saving me money. So right now the bottle has no inherent value because it's after Pesach. It has.
If I lost it before Pesach,
if I lost it after Pesach, I have to pay $100 now. If I have the bottle of wine, the bottle of whiskey that I stole from you, I can say, take back your bottle. This is what I stole. But if the bottle disappeared, I broke it, whatever, I got to not pay you the full value what it was at the time when I stole it. So it itself has no inherent value. But it's saving you money. How do we treat that as far as a shvu is concerned? I swore that I don't have this bottle, never stole from you, and then I admitted I lied. Do we say, look, it has no value, so there's no penalty? Or do we say, but it's a Dora Gailamon? Anyway, Nishba Alamau. Do we say, Kiva the Imigna Boy if it was stolen, I have to pay you money. Sorry, I still have to pay you. It's a money. So I'm actually making a shvua about something that is worth money indirectly. Right now it's here. The fact is the bottle of whiskey is still here and it's worthless. Well, the and I'm not denying money because this has no inherent value. How to review it? Says the Gemara. Milsa the boy le rabba pshit le rabba. Interesting why the Gemara doesn't just say isn't this the question of Dover Hagoyin and Lamam? That's exactly what this is, and this should be the argument of Shimon and the Chacham. But the Gemara goes on. After Pesach, I never stole it. I never stole it. Why, what did he gain by swearing I don't have it? He has to pay the full money. He doesn't gain anything. And also, the only time you shvua, you have the penalty is that the shvua is going to make you pay nothing. He's going to help you pay nothing. If the shvua doesn't make a difference money-wise, there's no penalty. So, Milsa de Baile Rabba, Pshitla Rabba. That which Rabba questioned, Rabba resolved it. Rabba said, if a guy, Reuben says to Shimon, "Should I get after? You stole my shirt. I never stole it." So he asked him, so Reuben said, "My TV, so how come you have my cow in your field? You gave it to me. You asked me to mind it for you. Why is it chai? Shari Potter atzing never by saying the Shem, if he would have been a gunner, if he'd be responsible for any accident that happens. Now that he claims the Shem Bechinim, he is exempt from paying money if an accident happens or if it's stolen or lost. So the Shvua helped him out money-wise, monetarily. And therefore, if later admits, look, I'm a liar, I stole it, then he has to pay the penalty. Same thing as Shem Sachar. Anytime the Shvua helps you, full Shvua helps you in saving money, you have to swear. You have to pay the penalties if you admit that you're lying. So the guy's a Shem Sacher, and he said, I'm not a Ganet, I'm a Shem Sacher. That means I'm potter from Einstein. But a Ganet, you'd be chayiv in Einstein accidents. So he potter atzim meshura. He breaks, he potter. So he has to pay the penalties. The Mesa.
If he says I'm a Shem Sacher, he can tie it to the Baal Asher, pay me for my work.
Or whatever, it could be. However, later on he admitted that he swore false. Case number 3. He said, I'm a borrower, which is chayiv Einstein. But it's still exemptions. If for the work that I borrowed it for, it died during that work, I am potter. So therefore, he's exempting himself from money. Now he admits it, pays the penalty. The fact is the animal's right here. You're not paying anything. The animal's right here. But if, let's say, the animal doesn't get stolen from him, or the animal dies, whatever, then he has to pay money. It's as if the animal is worth money, as if your shavua is dealing with money, and therefore, if you admit that you lied, you swore false, you have to pay the penalty. So we see from here, saying about Chametz Pesach. The same about he's telling Rabbi. The same thing about Chametz Pesach, that even though right now the bottle of whiskey is here, I don't have to pay anything. But if I lost it, I have to pay money. Lost it, I pay money. It's a shvua about money. Right now, all it is worth is like sand. Since if it's got stolen from me, I have to reimburse you the full money. It's a full money. So my shvua saying that I owe you nothing, I never stole it, is a denial of paying money. Says the Gemara. So that's what Rabbi said. Yosef Rabbo Ka'amar Lo Hashmaita. It's Rabbi going back and forth, different opinions as to who's saying what. I asked a question. It says in Pasuk, if I have a brisa and tell me how to resolve the brisa. It says in Pasuk, let's say you found a lost object or something else, but you deny it. So the brisa says, when do you say that if you deny it and you made a full shvua, then you have to pay all the penalties? As long as you're denying the essential claim from the other person, from the plaintiff. But if you admit to the essential claim, you just telling a different story, then and later on you said, okay, I swore false and I made it, you don't pay. For example, admits it. Kate said. Now there's some of the examples that can be very hard to understand, the Gemara can deal with it. Shoyni ganafta, the guy said, you stole my shoy, I did not steal it. How come you have it? You sold it. Now that I'm denying. You told me that your claim I stole it. I'm saying you sold it to me. So you will explain how come that's not really a denial. You gave it to me as a gift. Why isn't that denial? We'll talk about it. Your father gave it to me. I never stole it. The animal wandered on its own into my barn. It's toya bederech matzasiv. I found it on the road. It was lost. It was geblunges over there. So again, so I'm agreeing that it's, in these cases, I'm in the last two cases, I'm agreeing it's your animal. But I'm saying I didn't steal it. It came in on its own. It followed my animal. I saw it lost in the way. So in these cases, I am made to be ikar. I am made it's your animal. But you're claiming I stole it, and that's where we differentiate in the stories. I say that I didn't steal it; it came on its own. All of these cases, what am I saying? It's really yours. I'm just mining it for you. The nishma in these cases, if I swore and then I'm made it, because I'm saying I'm denying that I stole it. In the case, let's say I borrowed it, or I'm a shaymechilim. I agree it's your animal. I'm just saying I didn't steal it. I'm mining it for you. Says you don't swear. Rabbi said before that since you're swearing and trying to avoid paying money in certain cases, so it's a shua about money. If you swore false and then you have to pay. Clearly here you don't have to pay. It says clearly you don't have to pay because I'm made to be ikar. I'm made it's your animal. Amalei tadura. You got no brain in your head, or you have no capacity of understanding anything. Rough language here. Tanyahi. When is that said? You know what the Braisa is talking about that you don't have to pay when you made the shvur as long as you agree. Essentially, the animal is right in front of us, and I say, "Here, take the animal. I'm just your shaman. Take your animal." And therefore, the shvur didn't help me money wise at all because the animal's right here, and I'm telling you, take it back. Halech, take it, not it. Okay, kamina. What I'm talking about is the kaima ba'agam. I'm talking about the animal's not here. It's out there somewhere in the wilderness. And because it's there out in the wilderness, therefore, if I swore that I'm a shamer, you say you say you stole my animal, and I say no, I'm a shamer. I'm swearing, I'm saving myself money, and if I admit later that I swore false, I have to pay. Here, the shvur didn't save me anything, not a penny, because the animal's right in front of me. Here, take it. And there's nothing to. I'm not saving myself any money in the future because there is no future. The whole of my whole part is saving some money. If tomorrow the animal dies, I'm putting. Here, I'm giving it right back to you. Yeah. Says the Gemara. Let's understand the Braisa. If he says you sold it to me, that means I'm saying it's mine. So I'm not made anything. You say you stole it, and it's my animal, and you stole it from me, and I say no, it's my animal, and I bought it. So where's the? I am not made to wrong. It's you sold me, but I never paid you for it. You know what? Take the animal back. Take the animal back. Go goodbye. So that's why it's. I'm made in that now. It's still your animal because I'm giving it back to you. You gave it to me. Again, I'm denying. I'm saying it's mine. Your father gave me the present as condition I do something, and I never did it. So therefore, take the animal back. Take the animal back. Again, there's no dispute anymore in the sense. The only question is whether I stole it or whether I had a right to have it. Okay. Toya Baderech was lost in its way. Matzosiv, I found it. Lema, let the guy say, know what I'm saying? It's your animal. Lema, the other guy should have said, hey, what do you mean? If you found my animal, you should have given it back to me. So you did. You're like a ganef. What you didn't? You never killed. You went to look for me. I had to find you. I swear, Aveda Matzasi, but talking about a case, I didn't know it was your animal. I saw an animal was lost. I knew it was I didn't know who it was. So you can't call me a ganef. So I'm not denying that it's somebody else's animal. Tanya, Ben Azai said, Gimel Shvu, saying that 3 Shvuas by an aid echad, let's say an aid to do with a lost object, and I made the aid swear. Did you see it? Did not see it? So there are 3 kinds of Shvuas. He could boh if the aid says, look, I knew the animal who it came from, but I didn't know where the animal, whose property the animal wandered into. I didn't know the owner. Or I knew the property the animal wandered in from, and I knew the animal was not really his. But I had no idea where the animal came from. Or this is a shvur that the aid makes. I didn't know where that animal where it came from. I didn't know who the owner of the field is. And in all of these cases, if he made a shvur and turned out to be that he lied, then we'll see in a minute what the din is. So these are 3 shvuas that the owner of the cow makes the aid swear. Tell me, you saw my animal, they want to give it back to me. So the guy said, I didn't know who it was. I didn't know where it went to, who the owner of the new place went to, and so on. So first of all, I didn't know I didn't know anything. So they want to ask a question. So what's he? What's the tell the truth? Aim a bow, much he knew exactly, he knew everything. So what's the point of this? So therefore, is he chayiv the eid or is he potter? He is potter. What do you mean? That he is potter ushmul amalachiyah. That he has to say, what's the machlekes? Ubeplukta the hani to Tanya we learned hamashbia eid echad. If I make an eid echad swear, if I made an eid echad swear potter, and then he did this, the eid swore false. I said to Eid, you have testimony that you can help me out to get my animal back, whatever it is. And Eid said, no, I don't. And he swears I don't. And then he's made it that he lied. Does the aid have to pay? Remember, you only make a shvur if the tied in with money. So since it's not tied, what can the aid do? The aid said, yes, the animal belongs to you. Then all you can do is make the guy swear. So there's no direct money involved. If the guy can't swear, then he has to pay money. So that's like a goydem lemama. So we view it merely as not tied to money in his potter from the penalties. And the Mike, what's the argument? One guy holds it's like money and therefore it's tying him with money. It's not like money. Not like money. Rav Shesha says, if somebody denies, you gave me, let's say Reuben gave Shimon something to mine for him, and Shimon denies that he ever gave anything to mine for him. Not so that moment onwards, he's a ganef. Forget about swearing, no swearing. The fact that he denied is a ganef, and from now on, if anything goes wrong, if any accident happens, he is totally responsible. The chai ba'insin is chai for everything, because he became, so when he become a ganef, what point? As soon as he denied it. The Tanatun, I'll bring it out from a place where it says the kichish ball of madnu einish. It says the kichish ball, you know that you get punished, that if you swore false and then you would murder, you have to pay the penalties and all that. As Hodam and I, where's the warning that you shouldn't deny it? Now it says the pasuk you shouldn't steal and nor should you deny, you shouldn't lie. My lab la einish moment. What are we talking about over there? We're talking about that as soon as you deny it, the moment you deny that you have a pekadon, forget about swearing. Doesn't mention words about swearing. As soon as you deny it, you're already considered a gana. Not only if he swore that you never gave him pekadon, then he admits. No. The moment you deny it, he's a gana. Says the Gemara. Maybe maybe the puzzle about if not only he denied it, but he swore that he never had the pekadon. You never gave it to me, and then it turned out to be a liar. Then he has to pay, or he's caught by Adam. Then he has to pay. That's when he becomes a ganav. Only from that moment when he swore, not prior to that. He's still only a shamer, whatever the laws of the shamer are. It says in the sefer of the Ishtaba, it says in the sefer, and if he swore, the first part of the Braisa is not talking about at all about swearing. The what does it say in the sefer? What happens when Nishba al Sheker? He swore something false. He swore about something false. So we see that before that we weren't talking about shvur. Lamadnu oinish as Hodam and Tamalem Shakri, you shouldn't lie. Umid the Sefer the Ishtaba, since the last case in this thing is talking about he swore false. That means the case before where Pekadon is just denial. The denial that you ever gave me something to watch for you is already enough to trigger that I'm a Kamaganif. I don't, not because I swore, because if I swore false, then what's the chilik, the last case and the middle case? The Ishtaba is I didn't swear. How many was enough? Maybe they both swore. That the difference is if he was moide, the safe is talking about that he is moide himself. So therefore, if he swore false and he's moide himself, he pays then the chemish and all that. And kan shabo edim. But the middle case is talking about he wasn't moide. He wasn't moide. But so it could be talking about a shua, but the middle. So what's the middle case? The middle case is talking about he wasn't made, but Adam caught him out, so he becomes a ganav then. Also, Adam come. That's when he's chaybainz. Who said it's you who say that the moment you denied it? We're saying maybe only when you made a shua. So why do you two separate cases of Bryce about a shua? One is where he personally came forward and he's made it. For that, you pay the penalty of a fifth of ashram. The middle case is talking about you were never made it. So, but when the Adam came, that moment you become a ganav completely. You don't pay the penalty because you don't pay a penalty, the chaymish and ashram if you were caught by Adam, but you pay whatever the din of a ganav is. You pay kafel and all that. So if Adam came in the middle case, then you chayv einzin. You chayv anything goes wrong, and if you're a ganav, then or if you're a gazlan, you pay at least any accents. But I do in the last case, if he was personally made a chayiv bekedem v'chaymish rasham, that's when you pay the kedem v'chaymish rasham. So even though it's the same thing about a shua, but it's two different cases because it's two different outcomes. One is talking about when you personally came forward and made it. That's the last case. The middle case is talking about by Bekadon that you were caught. So therefore, could be the Bryce is talking about you made a shvu, and that's when you become a ganef. Not like Rav Sheshes that wants to say the moment you deny that you had a Bekadon, Hakay Bekadon, you already become a ganef right then and there, and therefore you're responsible for anything. So there's an argument in Gemara Rav Sheshes and the Gemara's Makshin who said no. The Rav Sheshes says the moment you deny Hakay Bekadon, you're a ganef, and we'll continue on this tomorrow. And the other one said no, only after you swore false, you become a ganef.